Due to a terrible crisis that had resulted in shortage of basic resources and food for survival in Spain, a tyrannical regime takes over, causing unrest in the state. They decide to deal with this issue by killing people. First off, they started with the elderly, then turned their focus to pregnant women and children. Nico, a store owner, fears for his life and the safety of his family, so he plans for them to escape the country to Ireland through a hidden yet very dangerous route. The crisis in Spain had gotten more worse, as the city had turned out to be the survival of the fittest. Nico pays a merchant for a space in his truck that will transport him and his beautiful wife, Mia, to Ireland. The merchant tells them that the journey comes with a lot of risk, so they have to pay more. He requests their wedding rings to complete their payment. Nico obliges and begs his wife to do the same. They enter the truck alongside other people trying to flee Spain. The truck was tagged Nowhere. Just then we find out that Mia is heavily pregnant. She finds a snack in Nico's pockets, but they agree to eat it once they reach their destination as a way of celebration. For Mia, she feels the totalitarian regime soldiers may track them down, but Nico feels otherwise. She wonders how he manages to remain optimistic when in reality, they are in trouble. Just then, something unexpected happens. The truck opens and more people rush to enter, leaving Mia and Nico a mile apart from each other. During the rush hour, the merchants controlling the runaway citizens orders half of the people to enter another truck right in front of them. This half includes Nico. He pleads with them to let him remain in the truck with his wife, but they beat him and force him to enter the other truck. Mia is left alone, and this time it gets her scared that she is not with her husband. She memorizes the name written on the truck. Immediately, she calls Nico, who assures her that his truck is behind hers, and they are heading to the same location to board their ship. Mia settles in fear to continue the journey alone, while she hopes to reunite with her husband. Moments later, the truck stops at a checkpoint for a search by the regime officers. This scares Mia, but they are all advised to move to the back for safety. The officers is bent on searching the truck, on noticing the driver's rush to leave. He asks his men to join in the search when he notices a separate compartment at the back. Just then, the man realizes that people are hiding in a separate compartment, so he tricks them into believing they've been deceived to pay for such a journey to an unknown location. A pregnant woman behind the compartment is moved by the soldier's tricky words, and in tears she opens it. Nowhere is safe, but Mia finds safety on the top of a commodity box. The regime soldier sends a bullet into the pregnant lady who surrendered, giving orders to his men to do the same to the others. Before Mia could help a pregnant woman join her, the men begins a shooting spree at them. This shocks Mia, and as always, she feels trapped with no means to escape. The truck finally brings Mia to the port, where she plans to escape to Ireland in a container. She tries to reach out to her husband, but he is unavailable. This scares Mia into tears. However, she has to remain strong to meet Nico whenever she arrives at their supposed destination. Things become worse when a storm occurs, tumbling the ship and fleeing pregnant Mia into different positions. She screams for help, but no one is going to help her out there. The container capsizes into the sea, leaving Mia unconscious and weak. She wakes up to discover that she is in the midst of nowhere in the ocean and other containers capsizing into the sea as well. Her phone screen is damaged as a result of the clash. Her only hope might be a bag containing food, water, and other essentials. Mia brings out a phone from the bag, but she cannot access it since it is secured with a password. Maybe the hefty containers in the shipment may contain something useful. Instead, it's just clothes, wine, and things that are of no use to her. With the use of tape she found in the bag, she covers the holes in the container to prevent water from entering. Suddenly, she hears screams from outside, looking to see that it is the same container she last saw her husband enter. She could only hear their screams, but there was nothing she could do to help, not even dialing Nico's number to tell him that she is in the container opposite him. Mia continues to call Nico, hoping that he will pick up and comfort her like he normally does. She picks up a knife and the temptation to end her misery comes to her. The kick of her baby stops her from doing this, so she comforts herself to sleep. The second day on the sea makes Mia find a means to secure herself and keep her baby safe too. Her call for emergency help proves abortive as there is no signal in the container. Moments later, the phone rings. It is Nico. He is safe in the city, and he assures Mia that he will rescue her, telling her to stay strong for their baby. Mia becomes relaxed since her husband will certainly come to save her. This hope becomes shaky when it starts raining, and at that moment, her water decides to break. Her phone rings again, and while trying to pick up the call, it falls into the water. Holding her baby in until Nico comes to help will do no good, so Mia pulls all her strength to deliver her baby despite the pains of doing this alone. She names her No, which means long life. Feeding her baby becomes an issue as her breast refused to bring out milk due to hunger. It took 2 days before the milk came out and Noah could finally eat. Mia decides to use the drilling machine she found in the bag to make a small opening on the top of the container. The drilling machine stops working after she attempts to complete the task. She resorts to using a pocket knife, and this injures her hands. It is the 6th day in the container, and there is no more food for Mia to eat, same as her reserve strength leaving her body gradually. Starvation leads her to eat the placenta she had stored in a plastic container. This happiness in finding something to eat is disrupted by the sound of a whale upturning the container. The sound of the whale stops, bringing Mia to the need for water. There is none either, so she opts to lick water from the opening she created. Out of weakness, Mia begins to hallucinate about Yuma and her husband, Nico. She wishes to see them, and if she needs to see them, she must find a way out. Mia proceeds to drag the drilled part of the opening with a rope. It is a success, and for the first time, No sees the world. All in the middle of nowhere, luck meets Mia as an airplane flies over. In an attempt to call for help with a mirror, the edge of the opening scratches her thigh, leaving a deep wound. In all of this, the plane flies over, which means no help for Mia and her baby. Despite her weakness, Mia stitches her wound while consoling No, who keeps on crying. On the 9th day, Mia constructs a fishing net with some ropes in the container after discovering that there are fishes in the sea. She catches a fish, and without cooking, she eats it. This continues until the 12th day, when Mia shows No pictures of Nico, Yuma, and her happy life in the city as a teacher. She tells No how Yuma was captured when the regime took over, blaming herself for what happened. After a few days, Mia finally receives a call from Nico one night. He confesses to her that he is hiding in a container after receiving a bullet when he tried to escape again. He acknowledges that his optimism put them in this trouble, blaming himself for picturing escape as the only way to survive. The call is Nico's last goodbye to Mia, begging her to promise that she would survive everything alone. She tells her husband about their child, admitting how happy she is they picked the right name, Noah, for her. On the 26th day, Mia is forced to live with Noah on top of the container, since it is sinking and filled with water. The last option is to sail on a board of wood with her baby until they find help. But she sees the only memory of Nico she has, the snack they reserve to eat when they reach their destination. In her attempt to bring it, Mia gets stuck in the container, and when she finds a way out of the sank container, Noah is nowhere to be found. On hearing her baby cry, Mia locates Noah, safe and sound in the little cradle she had formed. They continue their journey to an unknown destination after seeing seagulls. It is cold out there on the sea. Mia is shivering, but she must stay alive for her baby. She tries to keep herself awake, but a cold sleep drifts her into the sea. Fortunately, Mia and Noah may live long to tell their story. A Gallic fisherman and his daughter find Noah from their fishing boat, so they rescue the baby and drown Mia from the sea. The man's daughter tries to resuscitate Mia, but she seems long gone. The woman refuses to give up hope, giving Mia CPR until she wakes up. The man asks for assistance over the radio, and they head back to the port. The woman hands Noah over to Mia, and in disbelief, she bursts into tears. She and her daughter finally survived out of nowhere.